Hey friends, Irene Lyon here. Welcome to this video, to this YouTube channel, and to this world of healing trauma, nervous system health, and all things neuroplasticity. One of my favorite ways to teach difficult concepts around the nervous system and healing trauma and getting into the physiology environment is via example. And so I wanted to share an example that I have used numerous times in my teaching arenas with my students, on podcasts that I am on, online summits. I repeat it over and over again. So I thought I'd document it here so that you hear this example. And I'm going to talk about it in relationship to how we as human beings tend to numb ourselves out or dissociate or go into what's called functional freeze. So functional freeze is a concept that I learned through my mentors and teachers in the world of somatic experiencing and somatic practice. And in a nutshell, what it means is we are numbing out, we're shutting down, we're disconnecting from our body, our internal physiology, our sensations, our emotions, our life force energy. We're shutting down, we're numbing out, but we're staying functional. And by that I mean is that if we go into a survival response, so if we think about fight, flight, freeze, so fight is attack, flight is get the heck out of this dangerous situation, and freeze is a way of describing a person or an animal, a mammal, or an animal that goes into kind of this shock state and they can't move, they can't fight, they can't flee, they can't think. And all of their metabolic processes just kind of goes on halt, on standby, and everything drops in a sense. Blood pressure drops, heart rate drops, everything goes into the core. And it disallows us to fight and flee. When all of our blood goes to our core, our extremities can't do what they need to do these actions of defense and flee. So when we go into a freeze response, sometimes we might go into such an extreme one that we are completely in shock. We can't move. We might pass out. These are all signs of going into that high level of shutdown. It's called dorsal vagus shutdown of the parasympathetic nervous system. Dorsal vagal, I should say. It's part of the vagus nerve that keeps us safe. But what's interesting is that for many of us humans, we are not fainting every single moment of the day. We aren't stuck in bed, and we are out in the world doing things, and yet we live with this sort of sense, this quality of being shut down, of being frozen, of being in this functional freeze. So I'm going to paint a picture of one specific type of incident that we could use to extrapolate to all sorts of bad, scary things that happen to us when we are young, when we may not get the time and the care and the connection to come out of a stress response in a way that is, we could say, wholesome, safe, and allows our survival responses to express and expel naturally so that they're not stuck inside of us. I wanted to read a quote before I get into this example. This is from Robert Scaer, who wrote the book The Body Bears the Burden and also Trauma Spectrum. And he wrote in one of his books, I can't remember which one, but he said, unfortunately for our species, so the human race, humans, for our species, unfortunately for our species, our cages are often cultural and of our own making. So our cages as human beings are cultural and of our own making.